All right. Yes, yes. I think she's dialed in. She's locked in with us.
Hello, can you hear me?
There she is. There
Hello,
she
how are
is.
you?
I'm good. I'm good. That's right. She's on the line. She's here with us, y'all.
I'm
Um,
here.
yeah. First thing first.
Okay.
Um, uh, we'll introduce you in a minute here, Jackie. First things first, y'all. Welcome in. You're tuning into Where's My Damn Podcast. That's right. That is right. It's right there. It's right there. Smack dab in your face.
Here it is.
Yeah. So thank you to all the listeners out there that's tuning in. We appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all. And shouts out to Anchor, my one and only sponsor. So man, I need some more sponsors. So anybody, Heinz ketchup, number two pencil, whatever, Banana Republic, Ralph Lauren. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Holla at me. But yeah, be sure to share this podcast. You can tune in on YouTube as well. It's on my YouTube channel, and it's on the various streaming platforms right now at this point. So check that out on there as well. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all that good stuff. So
It's
yeah, be sure to.
everywhere.
It's everywhere, y'all. Yeah, and I got a very special guest on the line. Yeah, yeah. I've known her the last couple years it, in the comedy game, and we're gonna break it down. She's gonna break it down for all of us, So yeah, so just hang in there, sit tight and just enjoy the ride.
Buckle
Jackie,
up.
buckle up. Just Jackie, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Yeah.
It's been a tough year for everybody, and I can't complain. I have a roof over my head. I've got food in my fridge, and my heat is on. It's there's a lot of people who are not doing so well.
Right, right. I know.
So
That's definitely facts right there.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, we're just gonna jump all over the place. But obviously, I'll ask you. We'll get into the whole comedy thing and how we met and stuff, and
sounds
you know.
good.
But yeah, to the show. Welcome into the show, y'all. Yes, I have a very lovely lady on the line. She's one of my good friends in comedy, and we actually met physically on and live shows, not on these virtual comedy. We've met before, so
God,
but
remember those?
remember, yeah,
Whoa.
those were the days.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like to welcome everyone to the show, Miss Jacqui Pearl.
Yay. Thank you for having me on. You have a great cadence for a podcast.
Thank you, I appreciate that, Jackie.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you. Um, yeah, like you kind of touched on it a minute ago. It's been a crazy time. Obviously we're going through this the pandemic and stuff, and yeah, man, it's definitely that. Uh, let's take it all the way back.
Yes.
Let's go back a little bit. How did it get started for you in comedy?
Oh boy, how long do we have?
I know, right?
Right? Should I lay down on the couch to put my feet up while I tell this to my therapist? You?
Yeah, yeah. I'll be the pretend therapist.
Okay. Honest to God, I don't think I know a comic that hasn't started doing comedy because something either tragic or different or just something messed up happened in their life, whether it was a breakup or a divorce or a death or a moving or a losing their job or something. Um, and the same is true for me. I lived in Hawaii for 33 years. I was married for 25. I raised three kids. And like I say in my bit, at about year 21, I found out he's a pharmacist. I found out that he was prescribing himself an awful lot more things, including strippers, than I was comfortable with. And my son got into UCLA, and we were paying out of state tuition, which is absolutely ridiculous. And I knew there was no way I could help him if I stayed in Hawaii. And
Interesting. Okay.
yeah, it was $52,000 a year.
Ooh,
And if I moved to Hawaii or from Hawaii and lived here for 6 months, it became $12,000 a year.
no shit.
No kidding.
What?
Yeah. So it was a no-brainer.
But why is
right?
that? Well, I mean, out of curiosity, why is that?
Out-of-state tuition is ridiculously expensive.
Okay.
You know, if you're a resident of California and you go to a college in New York, it's especially a big like UCLA, it's ridiculously expensive.
I see. Okay.
So it was a no-brainer. I brought my 16-year-old daughter with me. My son was down at UCLA. My older daughter was already out of the house. And after I got a divorce, I moved here. And then I sat in my room and cried for 6 months because my life sucked. True story. I mean, it was awful. This is not what I planned. I was going to be married to him and live in Hawaii for the rest of my whole life. And
yeah.
But
then things started happening, right?
Well, what happened was my mom called me and said, "You've got to watch this show on Netflix called Grace and Frankie," which is, I don't know if you've ever seen it. No, you haven't seen it, but I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Hey, Jacqui with the blind jokes.
But it's Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin, and I love Lily Tomlin, you know, from back in Laugh-In and all that, and it is one of the funniest sitcoms. But anyway, the first scene is these two women, Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin. They couldn't be different. One is like Grace Kelly, and the other one is, you know, Grateful Dead and smoking weed and hippie. And they have had to associate with each other for 40 years because their husbands are law partners. And they're sitting at dinner at a restaurant waiting for their husbands to come, and they just don't get along at all. You can tell. And the husbands sit down, and the first scene in the series is the husbands tell both of their wives, respectively, that they want a divorce because the two of them, the husbands, have been lovers for 30 years, and they want to get married now that it's legal.
Wow.
And and it's hysterically funny. And I started laughing at that, and I went, my life doesn't suck that much. Oh my God, get a clue, Jacqui. So I started going out to comedy clubs and enjoyed it. And then from there, I mean, I've always loved comedy, but we don't have a huge comedy scene in Hawaii. And then from there, I met a few comics, and they said, you know, you should come to an open mic, whatever. And I started going to open mics and watching them. And I've been a writer my whole life. You know, I majored in journalism in college. Yeah, I've published books.
Fun fact, yo.
Yeah, and a lot of my writing is humorous writing. But I never thought because I'm basically shy unless I get to know somebody, would get up on stage and do that. Right, and then I went to a few open mics, you know, at dive bars and stuff. And I went, oh my God, I can write funnier stuff than this. And so I tried it out at the age of 52.
And what year was this specifically?
It was 2017.
Okay.
So, yeah. So I've been in this it'll be 4 years in February, March. But who's counting this year?
Right.
So we'll call it 3. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. You know what? So things happened, and then you ended up moving out here from Hawaii.
Yeah, I make really bad decisions in life. Should have gone the other way, but you know, whatever. It is what it is.
It's part of life, trials and tribulations.
Absolutely.
If we get knocked down, we got to get back.
Get back on that horse. Yeah.
I want to backtrack a little bit.
Sure.
What was life like in Hawaii? I mean, a lot of people would say, "Why'd you move back out here?" I mean, obviously, you made a choice because of the whole thing with your son.
Yes.
But Hawaii, land of paradise.
Well, okay, so I lived in Hawaii in Minnesota until I was out of high school. And at that point, I was at the University of Minnesota, and I found out I could do a national exchange program for 1 semester any college, pick it. And I picked the University of Hawaii, of course.
Ah, okay.
So I didn't move there till I was 18. And I got off the plane and I was there for 2 weeks. And I just called my parents and I said, I'm never coming back. I'm sorry. I'm never coming back. So if you want to visit
fell in
me,
love with it.
yeah, sell my skis, sell my motorcycle, sell my car, sell my parka. I'm never coming home again.
Yeah.
And I didn't until 4 years ago, and I didn't come home because I don't like cold. But
Yeah.
it was absolutely wonderful. It is such a mixed race of people. Nobody pays any attention. Nobody's here. The thing that shocked me the most when I moved here was you'd walk into a restaurant. Remember those when you could walk inside and eat?
Yeah.
And you'd see people sitting at tables, and all the Chinese people would be here, and all the Mexicans would be sitting at that table, and there'd be 3 black people over here, and then the white people and it freaked both me and my daughter out because it's not like that. Everybody, I mean,
intermingles over there.
Intermingles over there. The food, the culture, the comedy, all of it. It's just all together. Nobody thinks you basically have 2 races in Hawaii for the most part. You have local and tourists. There you go. But it was magical. The other thing that never happens in Hawaii is people don't ask what you do for a living. Here, everybody's like, oh, nice to meet you. What do you do for a living? That is the weirdest question. Nope. You're out in the water and you could be, catching a wave between a homeless dude and the district attorney. And as long as you guys are all having a good time, we don't give a crap.
Yeah.
So it was quite magical. I loved it. I all 3 of my kids were raised there and went to school there. They went to school barefoot half the time.
Yeah. It's almost kind of like that laid back mentality.
It is.
Just, don't bother me. I won't bother you. Let's just enjoy this piece of little land.
Yeah.
By the water.
Yeah. Yeah. It was, I love it. And I miss the ocean. The ocean is just basically my soul, my rejuvenation. I went swimming almost every day, or kayaking, or stand-up paddleboarding.
Yeah. I bet. Yeah. I feel you there because I was born in the Philippines.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
lumpia.
Yeah. So like where we're located, we're on an island as well, and there's something about the water, like just being on an island for some reason.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Was there a comedy? Did you check out any comedy out there when you were staying?
Well,
out there?
here's the deal. Hawaii has a very small market, and as far as the tourist market going to comedy, if you're going to spend all this money to take your family to Hawaii for a week, 10 days, whatever it is, you're not going to spend your time in the evening in a comedy club. You're just not. You can do that back in Boston. You can do that in Portland, whatever.
Yeah.
So that you're going out to luau's and you're doing things you have never done before. So local comedy is a kind of a very different. Joe Coy, who is one of my favorite comedians. I've seen him live a couple times, but he's sold out 17 shows in Hawaii. He's a Filipino comic.
I heard about that.
Yeah, because we get that mentality. That's he is a local comic, and he's one of the few that does translate everywhere in the world. But there aren't a lot of, there's small, tiny little local clubs. So I would when I could, but there wasn't a lot there. It's just not and there are a few people now since I've left. I've gone back and done shows that are doing smaller comedy shows and local comedy. It kind of had a resurgence there, but Andy Bumatai, do you know who he is?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, another Filipino comic from Hawaii. Very funny guy. So he made it. He had a local talk show on, but it's a very limited market. So not so much.
Kind of a niche
Yeah, unless
group
Robin Williams is
area.
coming up to fill up an arena,
Yeah,
it's very
yeah,
small potatoes there for the most part.
yeah. Interesting, interesting. Okay, fast forward. Like
Yeah.
you mentioned, you eventually moved out here. Now Sacramento was the prime uh target or
Oh God, no. I
city.
didn't know
No.
anybody in the state of California other than my son, pretty
Mm.
much. Um,
Yeah.
and I wanted to go down to Santa Monica, but that's just as expensive as Hawaii for the most
Hmm.
part. And my one of my best friends from college, she's born and raised Hawaii. Her and her husband had moved to Rockland, maybe I want to say 10 years before. And she has three kids, and they're exactly my three kids' age, and they basically grew up as cousins, Calabash cousins.
Okay. Yeah.
And so she just said, I don't know where you're going to go, but come here. You'll at least know us. It'll be a jumping off point. Her husband's in real estate. I came here. They had a furnished apartment for me, all set up and everything. They had my daughter registered in school. It was a no brainer. I mean, this is
Yeah.
like this is home girl, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then my plan was really to sit around here until John graduated and go back to Hawaii. That was pretty much my
Mm.
plan. But
Yeah. Yeah.
he graduated, and I was so into comedy here. I for the first time last year in August, I went back to Hawaii, and for the first time in my life, getting off a plane in Hawaii and being there, after I first got there, and then taking trips and coming to the mainland, I couldn't wait to get back to Hawaii. And for the first
Yeah.
time there, I spent almost 3 weeks there. I was like, I'm ready to go back to California. I think,
Mm.
and it was all about comedy. Had nothing to do with anything other than comedy. I was like, no, I can come
Yeah.
back to Hawaii anytime I want. I've got places to stay. My kids are there. Turns out this year, not so much. But my plan was to go back to Hawaii 3 times a year, which sounds excessive. But if that's your home where your family is, you can get a $350 round trip ticket. That's cheaper than
Why?
flying back to Minnesota to see my folks sometimes.
Why not? Why
Yeah.
not?
So, yeah, no, Sacramento was never my plan. But I love the
Okay.
comedy scene here. I love the people I've met here. I have some fabulous, great girlfriends. I mean, the gals in the comedy scene here are just, they're really something else.
Yeah. No, that's dope. Yeah, because I met you.
I was trying to remember. Was it out
Uh.
at Coe's?
No, no. That was one of the spots we actually did a show
Yeah.
together. I met you at Jordan Quattlebaum's local comedian here, his birthday showcase. That was the first time I
That's
met you there.
right. That's right. And was that in
Yeah.
Stockton? What town was it? Stockton. Yep.
Stockton, yeah. It was Stockton. It was like a
A
local
little bar.
bar, yeah, air place on
Yeah.
Miracle Mile
Yeah.
out here. Um yeah, so that's where I
That's
met you.
right.
And you know what? I always remember this because from then on, like after we did our
Yeah.
sets and stuff, you actually came up to me and said hello. And that might be a small gesture, but to me that goes a long way.
Right.
Like I like that kind
I
of thing.
yeah.
So I always remember that, Jacqui.
Oh, that makes
I
me
always
happy
remember that.
because, as an older single woman, it was very hard for me sometimes. And I always remember the people that kind of went out of their way. The first time I was ever at Laughs at like
Yeah.
an open mic I think it was like a workshop thing. And I'd never been there
Mm-hmm.
before. I didn't know anybody. I was sitting in the back by myself and
Yeah.
Buddy Rammon, Buddy? Yay, Buddy.
No.
Uh,
No.
he walked up to me and he just said, "Hey, I'm Buddy, and I'm a comic here. I'm not hitting on you, but do you mind if I sit with you?" And I was like, "Oh my God, thank God!" Like, please, here, do you want to
Somebody to the
share my
rescue.
fries? It
Yeah.
made all the difference. So I get what you're saying,
Yeah.
and I'm glad I did that for you. That gives me joy this season.
There you go. You know why? You know why I say that? Because yeah, it's like small gestures. Like to me, it means a lot. Like to some people, maybe not,
Yeah.
but like the culture where I come from, that means a lot. And and not only that, like me being a blind
Yeah.
comic, sometimes, I mean, it's not because of me being blind or anything. I mean, it is what it is. And sometimes, I'll get
Mm-hmm.
lost in the
Mm-hmm.
shuffle, if you know what I mean.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I could, because I could be just, sitting there and everyone could be just chopping it up and, laughing, da da da, and then no one stops by,
Right. I get it. No,
So
and I think
yeah,
Americans, and I kind of separate this from Hawaii. I think Hawaii and Filipino culture are very similar. Um, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
but I think
They have
Americans,
that
like mainland Americans, even to this day, it's getting much better, but are very uncomfortable with people with disabilities. So
bingo,
yeah, so they
bingo.
avoid them sometimes. Dan Smith, he's in a wheelchair.
Yeah,
He's a good friend of
yeah.
mine. And, we've had endless conversations about this. Like, he's just a dude, like, what the heck? I called him up one time and I was like, yeah, let's go do the
Hmm.
mic. And he's like, okay, cool. He's like, you want to ride together? And I said, yeah, I'll come pick you up. And he just stops. The line went silent. And I was like, what? And he goes, you do remember I'm in a wheelchair and I can't get in your fucking car, right? And I was like, oh shit, yeah, that's right.
And that happens a lot to
Yeah,
me
can
as
you drive?
well. Like
Let's go. I got gas money. You want to
yeah,
drive?
yeah. There you go.
But Dan says, that made me so happy because so many people on the mainland are so focused on that's the guy in the wheelchair that they forget I'm just Dan.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. At the end of the day, we're just
Mm-hmm.
people. We're just humans. And sometimes, like you said, it's a lot of times it's hard for people to get that
Yeah,
idea wrapped around their
yeah,
heads.
and I think they don't. Most of them, some of them are just asses,
Yeah,
but most
yeah.
of them, they are.
I like that. I
Yeah,
like that.
but most of them aren't trying to make it weird. They just don't have the school. They don't have the tools in their toolbox to. What do I do? What
Yeah,
do I say? Should I bring it up? Should I not bring it up? I'm just not going over there. And it's like,
yeah. The no, that's a good point. The social kind of
yeah,
aspect or the social skills of it
just go
all.
say
Yeah,
hi.
yeah. That's
It's
true.
another human
Yeah.
being. I'm weird as hell myself. Mine just aren't quite so visible, or I didn't mean to say visible.
Another one. Shots
Boom,
fired. Jacqui
boom.
scored 2 points to 0. Elvin, I got you. You ain't
I'm
winning
not
this
gonna.
battle.
No, it's your podcast. Oh Lord.
Oh my god. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So so yeah, like so you got into
Yes.
comedy. Um, like what was did someone influence you? I'm not. I forget if you
Yeah.
mentioned
No.
if.
What happened was I
Uh,
started going to comedy clubs. I went to Punchline, and
mm-hmm.
then
Yeah.
I think somebody said. I think Robert Berry told me you should go to some open mics, and one
Yeah.
of the first open mics I ever went to, I didn't go up. I was just sitting in the back watching. Was On the
Yeah.
Y. I don't know if you've ever been there.
I
Okay.
heard about it. Been meaning to get out there one
Yeah,
of these
it's a
days. But yeah.
fabulous, fun, super fun open mic. Danny Luna and Ed Mina run it now. Robert Berry used to. So he mentioned at the
Oh,
time
okay,
I
okay.
should come, and I felt comfortable because I had spoken to him. I knew I wasn't. I knew I wasn't going to walk into a bunch of strangers, but it was
Right. Yeah.
it's a football Steelers dive bar with pool tables, and it's a great mic. It's one of my favorites now, but that's a little I'm not a person who goes bar hopping by myself, and to walk into
Mm-hmm.
a dark kind of seedy bar, and I can handle myself in seedy places, but with the intention of like spying, on
Mm-hmm.
how people do this stuff, and,
Yeah.
and not knowing anybody, it was uncomfortable. But Robert Berry made it feel better. And then he said, you should take Keith Lowell Jensen's class. And I thought, well, he said, you should just come up and do it some night. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it. And then I never went back for like 6 months because it was like, I don't know. Talk myself out of it. And the next time I saw Robert, he said, you should go take Keith Lowell Jensen's class. And I thought, I'm never going to do this unless I sign up, pay my money, and make the commitment to go. And I can do classes all day. I'm a writer, And so I took it, and it was, I don't know if it was 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or 4 weeks, but it was on Saturdays. And I would go for 2 hours, and it was at Blacktop Comedy. God, I missed that place. And after our thing was over, I had written a really pretty damn solid 5 minutes. Because I've been working on it for 4 weeks for 2 hours a day with help and feedback.
Yeah.
And he produced a show at Blacktop. I would think there were probably 150 people there. So the first time I went up on stage as a stand-up was in the big room at Blacktop, about 150 people.
Ooh,
yeah.
That's well, because
everybody in the class could invite whoever they wanted. And then Robert Berry, and then Robert Berry had Johnny Taylor Jr. headline the show after all of us comics went up, and us new comic students. And I had a great set. I had tons of laughs. I couldn't believe that people were looking at me and not laughing at me, but laughing. I was so beat down. My marriage was over. I moved. I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. I felt stupid. I didn't think I was funny. I felt old. And I got up there and the spotlight went on. And I just went into this whole thing that I planned. Like, I thought I'd get up there and be like reading it, like da 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 da. And I just got up there and I was like, oh my God, let me tell you a story. So then, and they were like, what? And then they were clapping. And I was like, I have to do this. I will regret the day if I don't keep doing it. And then I've never done heroin, but I think it's like heroin. You just have to do it.
Yeah. At that point, you were hooked.
Absolutely hooked. Now, it took me another 5 months to get back on a stage. And to be honest, I threw up before and after I got on the stage that night.
The one you just
at Blacktop
described.
Yeah. That's how nervous I was.
Wow.
I was just so holy crap. That's that was a big room.
Yeah. I bet, yeah. Yeah, no, I've heard stories about like comics getting nervous and then having to throw up or whatever, and then just it's just just overwhelming, to especially your first time and all those people watching you, like.
And it took me another 8 months, about 8 months to ever do a room that big again.
Yeah.
So it was a learning curve, but I was hooked. I was just absolutely hooked. What do you mean? I can go up and say the stuff I write anyway, and people will. Yes,
react
and the joy it gives me to make people laugh. I think that's my favorite part about it, because people all have their own messed up problems. They're having trouble with their boss at work. Their wife doesn't like them. Their kids on drugs. I don't know, whatever it is that people deal with. You don't know, and to have them sit there and forget about that for an hour while all these comics. It's a real connector. I love that part of it.
Yeah. No, 100%, because like when I got started,
I don't know how you
I was
got
kind
started.
of no, I'll break it down. Like I got started in 2018. I had a conversation with a buddy of mine, and I was just going through the YouTube, and the one that kind of encouraged me or pushed me to do comedy or entertain it, at least, was this podcast called
Kill Tony
podcast.
1 minute.
Yeah,
have
1 minute,
have you
baby.
gone when they've come to SAC?
You know what? No, I missed it. But he comes. Back then when everything was open, he would frequent, like he would drop in like
Oh
different
yeah.
areas. So yeah,
Yeah, I've
yeah.
seen that here in
Um,
Sac, and I also saw it one time live at the Comedy Store down in
nice,
LA.
nice. Oh,
Oh
you
yeah.
did down in
Yeah, I
L.A.
well, my
Wow,
son was at
nice.
UCLA.
That's
He
the spot
lived
right there.
six
Damn.
miles from the Comedy Store. So what I would do is be like, "Oh, I miss you, son. I would love to come down and see you for the weekend." And and then he'd be like,
And let me take a
"Oh
detour.
yeah." I'm like, but at 6 o'clock we'll go have dinner, but at 6 o'clock I gotta go. And he didn't mind. He was brand new at college. He didn't want his mom hanging out with him
Yeah.
anyway. So I'd go do comedy in the evenings or watch comedy or find open mics. And yeah, for the
Yeah.
4 years that he was there, I did a lot of mics down in LA.
Nice,
So
nice. I like that. Yeah, no, so that's how I kind of started to like, hey, okay,
so
let
oh,
me
you were
check
not a
this
live
out.
one, you just saw it and you were like,
No,
got
it
it.
was on YouTube. I was just kind of, but the thing was, in 2018, we were renting this house. Me, my wife, my mom and dad were
Yeah.
living with us, or as I
Your
call them, my
roommates, yes.
roommates, um, or the same, vice versa as well
Mm-hmm.
for them, probably. But but yeah, so we were renting this house,
Where
and
at in
then the owner,
in
this
Stockton?
was in
Okay, yeah.
Stockton, over here, yeah, in Stockton, and so we're renting the house, and then the landlord ended up, they give us like warning, like ahead of time and stuff, and so she decides to
Sure.
sell the house, and then it's like, oh, what the fuck? What are we gonna do? So we're like frantic, trying to find
Yeah.
a spot, and then luckily, one of my nephews, older nephew, offered to let us stay at
That's
his
how you
house,
do. That's Hawaii and the
but
Philippines. Family
yeah,
first.
yeah, and definitely good
Yeah.
looking out on his part for that, and I totally till this day, I appreciate
Yeah.
that offer, but at the same time too, my mom was her health was
Oh.
declining, and then so we're getting in the process of getting kicked out of this house, and then having to move into another house, and then my mom's
Yeah.
health,
That's a lot.
and yeah, and this is 2018, summer of 2018, and I was just kind of hanging out at my nephew's, uh we were at the house at that time, and just on the YouTube and
Yeah.
checking out some stuff, and then so like I said, it was just a lot going on, and then I was like, you know what? Hey, let me go, check a mic out. Let me go call up a mic, find a mic in town, and
Yeah. And
just
how
go
did
check
you
it out.
find that out?
I went
Facebook? You found
online.
something?
I just kind of
Okay.
Googled stuff. Yeah, yeah. I just kind of Googled stuff on the laptop, and because I heard there were a couple of mics in town, but I just didn't know which ones to
Sure.
go to. And there's a popular Blackwater Cafe down here, and they do a
Oh,
mix mic,
I think I've
and
been
so
there. Who
yeah,
who
and
runs that?
the one at that time was this guy named Jay on
And he
Wednesday
was a
nights.
musician,
I
not
forget his. You know what? I don't know if he was a musician, but
yeah,
he
okay.
ran it
Yeah.
for a while. So and then I just went out there, and I was kind of just like, just a lot of things,
Yeah.
in on my mind, and because I also
Mm.
DJ,
Yeah, I knew
and
that.
then
Pretty good at it too.
you know yeah, and then like I you know I've done the clubs, I've done the parties, this and that,
Sure.
gigs here and there, but it was kind of like I wasn't, I kind of just almost just
I
maxed
get
out,
it.
so to
Yeah, you
speak,
you you
like,
get to a point where you're
yeah,
kind of
and then,
done with that life. Yeah.
yeah, and so so I had that, and then my mom's health, and then almost to the point where like not sure if
Yeah.
having a home or whatever, like, and so that getting into comedy, that kind of just gave me the second
It takes
wind,
the
and
edge
then
off.
e-
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and then you know what, like even though the first few times I went up, like even though my material
Sure.
was crap, like I
So
was
did
hooked.
you go up that very
I
first time?
You
Okay.
know what? No, actually, I I wanted to check it out
Same.
first, get a
Yeah.
feel of it. Because I think sometimes a lot of people say just
Yeah.
go and check it out and get a feel of it and see how you like it, and so that's what I did. Kind of just observed
Yeah.
the first time, but the second
And so
time I went
the
up.
first
I
place
didn't
you
get
went up
hooked.
was at Blackwater Cafe. Okay.
Yeah, Blackwater,
Nice.
and I always remember that spot. Yeah. And yeah, ever since then I was hooked, and then I think the following year that's where I met you at the birthday showcase, and then I've done open mics
Yeah.
here around town. We had a
Yeah. And
couple
shows, I
here
remember we used to do
during that
Co's
time.
or, yeah.
Yeah, we did that as well, and so
And now
that
we're
was
all
cool.
zooming.
So I know, like we don't even have to leave our house, and I'm like, hey,
I
Jackie's on the
know.
screen.
I know. I was joking with a friend the other day that Zoom mics with comics are kind of like HGTV for comedy, because I'm not going to go into half these people's houses ever, but now I know what their damn bedroom looks like. It's so
Yeah,
weird.
I know. Yeah, man. Yeah, like so this year obviously is the pandemic, and we're going through a various amount of
Oh yeah.
different issues on top of that as well. But how'd you hear about Zoom, and what made
Well,
you get in?
the whole thing was just, good Lord, it was so weird. I did a show. The last open mic I did was at Callback at Punchline, and you
Mhm.
started hearing rumors this February about things going a little wonky, things being a little weird. Like they were talking about this COVID thing, but we weren't quite sure yet. You heard about it in China and some places in Europe, Italy, but and then I did a pretty big show at Laughs Unlimited. That was a Dave Touchstone show. You know Dave. Yeah,
Mm.
and it was an
Oh,
all
okay. Yeah,
female
yeah, Dave.
show.
Yeah.
So it was fabulous. It was me and Asia and Kirsten Frisk, and it was just really a great show. And then we had my one of my cousins died, and I flew back to Minnesota. And while I was in Minnesota, so this was probably March 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, and everything just shut
Mhm.
down. Like, it was just like dun
Yeah.
dun dun dun, and I was like, "Holy crap! I got to get back to California, or I'm going to be stuck in Minnesota forever." Um, and came back, and it was just like
Don't you know?
whoa, like everything just grinded to a halt, and I was booked probably till August. Um,
Mhm.
easily, because I started doing producing some shows with Morty Stein, and I,
Yeah.
all done, none of those. And I think it started with a bunch of comics just said, hey, there's this thing called Zoom, do you want to just hang out and talk for a bit, and that was probably the first week or two, and I was like, yeah, cool. And
Yeah.
then I little pop-up mics started happening around, but I thought, this isn't stand up. This is, I don't know, this is like, it's a weird meeting, but it's not stand up. So I didn't want to do the shows or
Yeah.
the mics. And if you remember at that time, we thought we'd close for 2 weeks, a month, and it'd be back to normal. But as things
Right.
kind of
Right.
went on, um, I started doing workshops, and I got comfortable with the medium, and then, started doing shows because why not? I'm gonna get rusty if I don't, and I can't. This is my heroin. I can't not live without it. And ever since then, it's
My
a
choice
drug.
of
Comedy
drug.
is a drug. Children, don't do drugs.
Yeah.
Comedy is a drug. Just so you know,
Just
it's
say no.
addictive. Um, and then I said, you know what? Till everything opens up, this is what I'm going to do. I have to. It's and I've had a blast at it. One of my favorite things about Zoom, which was completely unexpected, was I have done Zoom shows in Australia, Japan. I do a regular one on the East Coast. Um, I've done, I've
Boom.
networked with so many people. I could probably get in my car today if the world were open and drive from California to New
Right.
York and have a place to perform and people I knew, and probably even, I don't want to be forward, but probably even a couch to crash on in every place I stopped in from here to from New
Right.
York.
Yeah, you know what? I've had other comedians
Yeah.
on the podcast, and you
Yeah.
know, said the same thing. Like the networking aspect of it. Like if anything, if you can take anything away from Zoom, yes, it's not live or comedy or whatever, however you want to word it. But if you can take anything from it, the network aspect of it is the number one. In my opinion, like yeah, like I've networked with a lot of people on there, and just like you mentioned, you can connect. Like if you were to drive to Chicago or Texas or Seattle, someone on Zoom, and then you'd be like, you got a stage and they can bring you to their show, or a place to hang out, and it's right there. Yes, yes. You know what? We were on a bit of
I'm
a
so sorry. I'm back.
it's okay. It's okay. We're on a anchor sponsorship break, so it's all it's all good, Jackie. Um uh yeah, no, like I was saying, it's with this whole Zoom thing, it's nice to to when things do open back up, like if we happen to stop by a certain place, we have a place, an actual place to do shows, and just hang out with people that we met on Zoom.
Yeah, I've met some awesome people.
Yep.
You're
Yeah.
coming in really, really like crinkly on my
Uh
end.
oh.
Better, better. Got you now.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Yep. Yeah, no, the wife just came in, actually, came in from, she just got home from work, and she gave me my Starbucks, so I'm ready after
You're
this.
ready. Okay. Yeah, I got some random telemarketer and it just cut it off. And I should probably be on airplane mode. I don't know.
Yeah, you know what? I think that's one option too, but yeah, it's all good. No worries.
Okay.
No worries.
Figure it out.
Yeah, we can
You're a
do this.
DJ. You can edit that.
Yep, yep. We'll figure it out. But we'll wrap it up in a few minutes here, Jackie.
Okay.
So like when what do you think Zoom is gonna go after this, when things do open up?
You know, my first instinct in the beginning was to be like, I hope it goes away and all we do is live comedy. But I'm not there yet. It is. I have met some really interesting people. I'll tell you, one of the most interesting things I did through Zoom was, remember when things a while back started to open up and it looked like we were going to open, when we did open up for a little bit again.
Yeah, yeah, we did.
And I had a show, live show, um, booked in Eureka, California, at Savage Henry Comedy Club. One of my favorite places to perform. I love it up there. And I was going to feature for Pete Munoz, who is, you've done some of his mics.
Yeah, yes, yes.
South Bay comic, super, super
Awesome,
guy.
Awesome dude, awesome dude.
Awesome dude.
I had him on a podcast too.
Oh, isn't he great? I
Yeah.
love that man. But anyway, he's given me so many chances when I was a newbie. And I used to drive out to the Bay on Monday nights. And on Monday nights when things were open, you could do 5 mics.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was worth it to drive. And his was always the last one at Woodham's. But anyway, we were scheduled to go up there. And so we were going to drive. And things started closing down again. And then his work schedule closed. And he's like, I don't know if I can do this. I said, all right, well, let me know. And he calls me back and he says, you know what? We're going to do it. And I said, okay, I'll get ready. Let's do it. Are we staying up there or driving back? He goes, no, we're not going. And I go, you just said we're doing it. He goes, no. They figured out, and as far as we know, this is the first time it's done. They did it on a stage in a bar because they were still open up there. In a bar. And the host and the first 2 comics went on live. And then they zoomed us in and projected us on a screen like some damn Star Wars hologram from
Matrix.
It wasn't, and I couldn't really hear or see anything because I don't have a screen in front of me with all the people there, but I could kind of hear them in the background. Your timing's a little bit weird, but they zoomed me in and I did like, I don't know, 20 minutes. In live in a bar, but I'm sitting at my kitchen table, and then Pete headlined. It was nuts. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So back to your question, I kind of hope. I mean, I'm down for weird shows like the Russian roulette that Tara runs. I don't know if you've done that one yet.
Yeah, no, I've done a couple of them.
A blast, an absolute blast. And
so, the thing with that one, it's cool because it kind of breaks that monotony and it kind of tests you a little bit,
it's like a workshop, but it's not.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, it levels the playing field.
Yeah.
You can be on there with a comic who's done 20 years, and you could be on there with somebody who's his third open mic, and they roll the wheel, spin the wheel, and the brand new comic could get a topic that they could talk about for 20 minutes, and the 20-year veteran could get a topic that he knows nothing about and have to do some talking.
Yeah.
So
the spontaneity of it.
It's awesome. She makes it so much fun.
Okay, Jacqui. You know what? I got these 3 questions I usually ask my guests at the end of the show.
I'm ready.
You can choose. This is your choice. You can choose to answer 1, 2, or all 3, or you can skip it. It's all good.
Okay.
It's no pressure at all. Usually like I said, I ask these 3 questions, and these questions are like things that I'm curious about and interested.
Fascinating. You're building up the
that
suspense.
Fascinates me. Yeah.
You're building up the suspense. I'm ready.
All right. Question number 1.
Yes.
I'll list them all at first, and then you can
okay.
break them down afterwards. Question number 1: aliens or Bigfoot? That's number 1. Question number 2: if you weren't doing comedy, what would you be doing? Okay. And question 3 is, what is your go-to food? Just because we're in this current time, and what if we had to, if you had to live on a month in a month's worth of food, what's your go-to?
Okay.
So yeah, those are the 3 questions. If you want me to repeat them, I'll be glad to repeat them. But
I'll answer them all.
There you go. She's going in. She's laying down the hammer.
I'm all in. Aliens or Bigfoot?
Yes.
Bigfoot. 100% Bigfoot. And here's why. The universe is too big. There's got to be some other. I believe there has to be aliens out there. They might not look like us. They might be microscopic organisms. They might be something that my brain can't even imagine. But the universe is so enormous. There has to be something out there. So I'm already fairly confident. I would be shocked if aliens didn't exist. I don't think it's going to be like E.T. or, Sigourney Weaver kind of stuff. But it's got it. And Bigfoot, absolutely fascinates me. This is the planet we live on. This is our home. We can't even take care of that. And the things, I mean, they're still discovering new species, you know, down in
Yes.
Borneo and Southeast Asia and in the rainforests. And I just think there's got to be something to it. They may be completely extinct. Why haven't we found their bodies? I don't know. Maybe they
Yeah.
bury their dead. I have no idea. But I would love to find out that Bigfoot exists. Although, if I were the one to find out that Bigfoot did exist, I don't think I'd tell the world, because we'd go do something stupid like hunt them or destroy their habitat looking for them, or
I know. Just start poking them, grabbing
exactly
blood
stealing their
samples and hairs.
babies and putting them in cages. I mean, we're assholes. So
Yeah.
I'm
No,
hoping
I like it. I like it.
I'm hoping that, you know, Bigfoot and the Yeti. I'm hoping that somewhere out in the Himalayas and somewhere up in Eureka, California, there are these human like, whatever they are, creatures just living peacefully and being left alone, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Nice. I like that. I like that. Appreciate that, Jacqui. So question number 2:
yes, if it
if you weren't
didn't
doing comedy, what else would you be doing?
I would be writing. I would be writing
Uh,
comedy. I would be writing. I've published a couple of books, and I'm working on another one now, and I'd be doing an awful lot more writing. The other thing I like to do, and I used to do this freelance. I like to. It all started when I took a women's history or women's history class in college, and to find out about, you know, how much women have to say that never gets published because they haven't been in charge. And I'm certainly not a man hater, but I'm just saying, you know, it's been his story for so long because he has been in charge. And you know, the men are out in the world and the women are behind trying to figure out how they're going to make dinner and you know, pay the bills and raise 3 kids, and there's stories in there too. So I
yeah.
used to do a lot of women's oral histories, and I would get granddaughters or, you know, sons call me up and be like, my mom is 93 years old and, you know, I want to hear her stories. And so I would do interviews with these women, and they would open up to me because they're not, you know, admitting that they committed a crime to their son, or they're not talking about some horrific rape they had to their granddaughter. It's much easier, you know, or something wonderful they did. You know, it doesn't have to be
Yeah.
traumatic. But and I would put these stories down and then have it transcribed and give whoever it was, you know, a tape and a transcription. And a lot of them would, you know, make copies and give them to their relatives for Christmas presents. You know, I've had, or birthday presents, or, you know, whatever. And I've had people say, you know, I want you to do this, but please let her know, please let Nana know that we will not put this out in our family until she's gone, because I know she doesn't want out there. And it's just such a treasure. So I would be doing more of that. And I still should, because those stories absolutely touch me.
There it is. A writer. Nice.
Yeah.
I like that. And last but not least,
Food, huh?
your go-to food, Jacqui Pirl.
Okay. For me, I love to cook. I love to cook. So I've been cooking my way through this pandemic. And I don't know if you follow me on any social media. I'm on
Oh yeah, yeah.
Facebook.
Oh well,
And
come on, Jacqui. You know I do.
you're getting a little fuzzy again there too.
Oh. Can you got me? Can you?
You fixed it last time.
There.
Better,
Hello,
better.
hello.
Yes.
There you go. Okay.
Woohoo.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
so I mean, I made coconut chicken adobo. I've made pot roast. I've made Italian food. I love to. That is what I do. I feed people, and you know, I raised 3 kids. My house was always just extremely busy. Their friends would stop over on their way home from school, and I'd make them a snack. You know, it was just an open. It was, you know how it is.
Yeah.
What I don't have is a good recipe for lumpia, so got that, passed it on, because I missed that. But
There
I've
you
been
go.
cooking. I have rarely eaten out during this pandemic. I've done takeout, and if I'm doing takeout, it's Vietnamese pho or Thai food. Or if I'm just being, you know, all American, it's Jersey Mike's Italian sub done Mike's way. But for the most part,
Yeah.
cooking my butt off. And I will make like little care packages, and I've been bringing them to comics. And drop and go, knock knock, doorbell ditch. But comics that I know live alone and have been living off ramen and hot dogs.
Yeah.
So
Awesome. Awesome.
yeah.
Well, there you have it, y'all.
Yes, there you have it.
Miss Jacqui
This was
Pearl.
super
Thank you, Jacqui.
fun.
I appreciate you, Jacqui. Salute on everything. Hope you stay healthy.
Yeah.
Stay safe
Yep.
out there. It was a
It was
blast.
a
So
blast. I can't wait
thank
to
you.
see you on Zoom.
Yeah, yeah. So last thing here, where can they find you on online
Okay. Yes.
if people want to check you out and
I
stuff?
am on okay, Cupid. I'm on Tinder. No, I'm kidding.
Boom, the
Venmo,
punchline.
PayPal. No.
I like
um,
that.
I'm okay. So it's Jacqui Pearl, and it's spelled very weird. It's Jacqui. I'm sure you'll put it in your comments. And last name Pearl, but it's Pirl, like girl with a P.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
mother gave me one. My ex-husband gave me the other. I had nothing to do with my name, but it's Jacqui Pearl on Facebook and Twitter, and on IG it's Pearl Jacqui, only because I used to have a Jacqui Pearl and I couldn't figure out how to get back into that once I started comedy, so I said forget it. So
Well,
I'm kind of
there it
the only
is.
one out there spelled that way, like in the world, that I've ever found. So
Yeah, no, it's very
yeah.
unique. When I saw that, I was like, "Oh shit, this is
Hmm.
different." Well, there it is, y'all.
Yes.
Check her out. Follow her on the social media and everything.
And on Venmo and
And
PayPal.
yeah, yeah, there
Yeah,
you
there too.
go. Donate,
Donate,
y'all.
y'all.
uh, my stuff. Like I said, where's my damn podcast? Be sure to like and share. Spread the good word. That's all. That's all I'm trying to
And
do.
shout out
Just
to Anchor. This is the first podcast I've done on Anchor, so this was fun.
there you.
Good stuff.
Yeah, there you go. Well, Jacqui, talk to you soon. I'll see you on the either the Zoom or a live mic. Who
Woo!
knows?
Celebration.
Yeah. Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Jacqui.
sweetheart. That was a lot of fun. All right. Aloha.